Ladies and gentlemen, back from Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. I think they got something they want to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. Washington, D.C. I think they got something they want to say.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. I'm your host, Kerstyn, and I have my lovely co-host to my right.
Hey, everyone. It's Maxine, the Democratic wildcard.
And?
Hello. Everybody's very conservative in New York, Christopher Wright.
And we are the Politricks Podcast. Today is episode 18, guys.
Oh, belts now.
Yeah, last one was cool.
Right. Now we're getting up there. So we can vote. And guess what? You should be, if you're listening to us, if you're watching us right now, you should be registering to vote. Like, that's like number one. I know right now we haven't really said a lot about registering to vote and like getting informed and stuff, but that's one thing that we're going to be stressing heavily as, these Super Tuesday and all these like primaries. Like, if you're a Democrat, if you're registered as a Democrat, you can vote for the primaries in your state. So it's very important, especially if you want a specific person out of the 38 people to. Is it 38? I just said a funny number, but out of the 28 people to be heard. So definitely get registered.
Yeah.
Yep. Make sure you register Republican.
Okay. Thanks everyone for listening and sharing the podcast and leaving comments. Please continue to share with your friends and family. Follow us on Politricks Podcast on Instagram, Twitter. It's Politricks Pod. I see you guys on Twitter following us. Thank you. Keep, tweeting us and sending us your, we're getting a lot of feedback from you guys, and we just really appreciative. On Instagram, we're Politricks Podcast. Excuse me. Last week's episode was our first time on video, and it really was really an entertaining. It was just really cool to see us.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm like so organized. I don't even want to move a certain way because I feel like I feel weird about it. But thank you again. If you're watching us right now, please subscribe, leave a comment. And, tell us what you want. You tell us what you think we should do more of, what we should do less of. We're growing. This is only episode 18. So, by the time we get to episode 50, it's going to be probably a lot different than what we're doing now. So, if with your help, we will get there. So we're also available on Spotify, Apple, Soundcloud, and the Anchor app. Continue to listen to us and share it with your friends.
Please do.
So how was everyone's week this week? It was an interesting week. What did you guys do? I mean, we're going to get into what actually transpired. But how was your personal weeks? I'm
going to be back to the draining, exhausting mommy because my week was cut. My summer was cut in half. Okay. In terms of like being kid free, and just because of things that happen as they happen, kind of went into full mama bear mode and brought my kids home early from the UK. Right. So it's just been really exhausting. Like,
but it's good to
draining.
See them.
I honestly felt like I got ran over by a bus, and I'm not even being dramatic, and I know I'm a Leo, and we're dramatic.
Very.
Oh yeah, my stepmom's a Leo. I know firsthand.
But I'm like drama queen, but like I seriously mean that. I sometimes I'm like I don't even know how I used to do this. But anyway, so that was my week. Crazy.
How was yours, Chris?
It wasn't nothing mama bear mode week, but it wasn't a bad week. I just getting ready for the event I got planned coming up on the 10th. We got the March for Blue, so we're going to be out here marching for the NYPD. And yeah, definitely. Is
there a specific reason?
After this incident where they got the water tossed on them by the kids and everything like that, and mocked and all that stuff. So we're just coming out here to show support. Because I mean, these people are people, man. People sometimes forget that. They look at NYPD, they see that uniform, and they're like, "Oh, you're just the devil." And I come to New York, I'm like, I don't really see that too many. I mean, I see more minority cops here than a lot of women, a lot of black women.
Good point.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Hispanic,
yeah.
Did you organize it?
Me and a friend of mine, Mike G. Shout out to Mike G out there.
Really? You guys organized it?
We did the one in Manhattan. We organized.
How many people showed up?
That one, about 25 people showed up.
Okay. But what about this one? What do you anticipate?
Right now we got about 25 people who already said their RSVP.
Do you have you have like an RSVP thing?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys are watching and you're listening, definitely come out August 10th, right?
August 10th in Times Square, Manhattan. So in New York, it's easy enough. You'll see us out there. Trust me. We'll be out there making noise.
Yeah. So that's good. That's a positive thing to do.
Yeah.
My week was good. I went to Boston on Sunday for like a couple hours and then came back. My client had a show. He did really, really well.
Nice.
And
couple hours.
Yeah, literally a couple hours. Just went back and forth. And I've just been, just kind of busy, just, working on the podcast and other stuff, work related. And personal life, not much. Personal life, just being busy. I really haven't had a personal. I really need to take some time away one weekend before the summer, before the weather changes.
We all say that, right?
No, I do. I'm so jealous of you because you're like traveling. I'm like, I need to take some time.
Yeah, you did.
So, but I will. I definitely will. And even if I don't do it now, I'll go later. Maybe I'll go to scary Dominican Republic. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Dominican Republic. I love Dominican Republic, but unfortunately, with everything that has been going on there, I'm a little nervous to go.
Yeah, a lot's been going on.
A lot of stuff. But anyway, let's politics, guys, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
You ready?
All
right.
For the cause.
So I first have to start with a happy birthday because yesterday was, or 2 days ago, because yesterday is today and today is yesterday. Well, you know what I mean. Happy birthday to President Barack Obama.
Ooh, Leo.
A fellow Leo. The two of us are Leos, so we big.
Look at the face.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Oh, come on.
A big shout out.
First black president of the United States.
Okay,
That's right.
there we go.
Historical.
That's right.
Historical.
So, could never be done again. That's it. He was the first one, and you know what I mean.
Wow.
Hopefully, we'll
Open the
have
doors.
one. Hopefully, we'll all be able to see another one down the, before
In our lifetime.
In our lifetime.
May I be the next one day, guys.
Never know. Oh, boy.
I didn't see no celebration. There's no excitement there.
I just said,
I just said. It was like,
oh boy,
really?
I mean, maybe like HUD.
The shade.
Maybe you could.
I'm like, what's up, New York?
Maybe you were HUD.
I don't know.
No. If you become the president,
It's an important job.
I mean, anybody can. At this point.
apparently, right?
Apparently.
So we want to wish him a very happy birthday, and thank you for being such a great president. I know a lot of people are are trying to say horrible things about his legacy, but I think his legacy in a couple years will fare well. I think once just wait until he releases his book. Mark my words. When he releases his book, watch how people will perceive him, because he's going to let us in on what really went on. We forget.
They don't care.
2 years after he was voted in, he lost the House, he lost the Senate. He could do nothing. The Republicans, the day one, said, I am not going to see this man win. We are down with the country. I don't care. But he will not win. Just because why? Because he's black? Because there was nothing he was saying before.
Yeah, I don't know. He should have lost the House and the Senate, man.
But people didn't vote.
We got to get him to vote, man. Got to get him out there. You know what I
And
mean?
unfortunately, we don't think like that.
Trump lost the House, but, he still has the Senate.
Yeah, you
For
need the
now.
Senate for now. Oh yeah, a couple years. Don't worry, we're coming after him. But yeah. So happy birthday! And down the line, I'm going to dedicate an episode to our former president, and we're going to talk about all his accomplishments. Just because I want people to know really what he had to go through.
I'm going to have a sick day that day. Man.
You'll be there too. Okay, so let's get into some topics. So this was a really, really tough week, or a couple days, I should say. This weekend has been a little bit rough. So in a Northern Californian festival, a Walmart in Mississippi, another Walmart near U.S.-Mexico border, and a popular entertainment district, all four were scenes of shootings in the past week. Events that together left at least 34 people dead and more than 50 wounded. I think it's now 65, if I'm not mistaken. So I really want to know, guys. We all know the statistics. We know what went down.
Yeah.
I just really want to know what's going on in America. Like, where I have to hear from your side and I have to hear from our side. And really, let's just try to figure this out, because I don't know what to say. Where do you stand, Chris?
We have a issue in America with it's a mental issue, mental disorder issue. Yes, that's a big problem. Do you want me to say a gun issue? Nah, I'm not gonna say we have a gun issue in America. I think we have an issue.
No, not just guns, like a racism. Is there any other thing you see as a problem here? Hate.
Nah, I mean the hate's there, man. But I don't think this is. We have an issue with just people that can't handle the world, man. Because Columbine. I remember when Columbine happened, that was a huge deal. Mm-hmm. Because before Columbine, it wasn't like this is every other month happening, every other week. Mm-hmm. And now it's happening every other week. And you look at the people that are, at least the one the news broadcasts. Make that clear. They have a lot of them are like these young people. Look like they live in the basement. And it's just play online, and I play video games a lot when I was young, growing up. So I'm not saying nothing wrong with video games like that, but they look like they play like 24 hours of the day. And it's like and when something happens to them in life that hurts them, and it's like and they can't handle it, and we all deal with stuff in life like that. Like me and Maxine, we were talking about this earlier. They just get a gun and just start blasting and shooting, and it's like it is a problem, man, and it's a serious problem, and it's mental disorder. A lot of these kids are on these medications when they're 6, 7, 8 years old in school. So and they're over medicated. I think a lot of it is, man, and it's just something we need to really look at.
So do you think when they say, like, I drove 600 miles intentionally to shoot Hispanic people, that was just some kind of like divergence from like the real issue? Like it wasn't about any hate they had about for this particular person in El Paso. Hate they had about Hispanics and immigrants. It was just he has personal issues, can't deal with it, and he's just trying to find a target.
Oh, that guy, that specific case was, he's a racist. But, you can look at other races and other cultures and say, what's going on here. There's mass shootings. When you look at the country of mass shootings 2019, it's all races and all cultures getting involved in mass shootings. A lot of black people, man. All mass shooting is 4 more people getting injured in one shooting. Yeah. Right. And Chicago, that's every weekend.
We're going to get into that.
And it's like,
But question, though, because they say, and I was like reading this up, like every country has racism, mental illness, like all of these issues, but they don't have mass shootings like us. Even ones that have like populations that are near us. Because then you can say, oh, well, we're a big country. Okay, I get that. When you control for like all those things, why don't they have the same problem we have?
And that's why I think part of it's the mental disorder, because we over-medicate in this country, I feel, with a lot of people when it comes to the young people and everything. And we got this everybody's a winner mentality, which is BS. We got to get back to the old school America where it's like, no, you're a loser, and this guy's a winner. Learn how to deal with it. And then when you learn how to deal with stuff like that, sports helps that a lot. With people, you learn how to lose and you learn how to win.
So, sorry to cut you off, but so you're saying that, because to answer Maxine's question, you're saying that the reason why it's happening more in America is because of the over-medication that Americans have outside of any other countries.
Oh no, we're a gun culture too. If you want to talk about guns, this country was. We took this country back from the British, and we took it with guns.
Did they have AK-47s back with the Brits?
Oh, they had muskets and all that good stuff back then, and got beaten on a drum up a hill. While they're
right, but it wasn't like these rounds, like 8 rounds in one shooting. Like that's kind of excessive, no?
It's excessive, but what are we going to do? Make stricter gun laws? Because making stricter gun laws, in my opinion, is going to do is get the criminals. They're not going to lose the machine guns. The criminals are always going to get machine guns.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not going to stop. So all they're going to do is make Americans harder to get pistols.
Right.
So when we get to issues where we have these people out here shooting, we have no way to protect ourselves at all. Right. At least sometimes with these mass shootings, you hear stories of, a kid came with a machine gun.
But no one seems
he shot one person and then he got killed.
But it never happens where a good guy with a gun. These are open carry states, like the ones that were hit,
like Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, and people had guns on them, but no one was able to.
It happens.
It's like you need to be shielded.
Let me tell you, if I have a gun and someone has an AK, I'm not shooting him. I'm going the other way.
Yes.
I know, but if you're trained, you're not going to run away.
Because my little gun against his AK, it's not.
Because once she starts powing, they're coming after her 3 rounds and she's out of here.
But if you're trained with a gun and somebody starts powing and you see them, and you have the opportunity to see them, if you're not the first one getting powed, and it's game over for you. But if you see it happening, you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But you're going to get your pistol out, you're going to get cover, and you're going to blow his brains out.
There's a difference between being trained to use your Glock or whatever it is versus being in war, which is what that is.
Yeah, but if you got other people around you that are legally carrying, you're not the only one with a gun.
But what you're saying, okay, so let's put this in practice. We're all in a store. You happen to be a man that is carrying. She happens to be a person that's carrying. A crazy person with a gun is ready to shoot us, and he has an AK-47 spraying everybody. You mean to tell me the two of you are going to protect everybody? You're going to come out and start shooting, and you're going to be able to take him down? You think so?
That's not taking him down. At least get him reactive. Like, if you shoot somebody, even if you don't hit them, a bullet going by their head and blowing out a window is going to make them like, what the heck was that?
I think we give, even cops have they have tough times in when they're doing gunfire, like when they're shooting their guns and they're having like some bad guys with a gun, they're trying to shoot them and they have issues nailing them.
But they're doing it in a professional way.
Exactly.
This is not professional.
But we're regular. But you guys are regular people that go to the range. Like, you're not going to be You're not going to be able to unless you're literally carrying an AK-47 every day with you. I really think that that's the only way that I think what's going to happen in America is that we're all going to need training. We're all going to have to have AK-47s. 3-year-olds are going to have them. We're going to have to all be walking.
Israel, right?
What are we saying here? And I'm being very sarcastic because I would never want that. That's not what I want. And my thing with this whole mass shooting, I think what she said was a very valid point. No other country, we see the numbers, we keep seeing the same statistics. 0 mass killings in over 40 countries. 0. We have 246, right?
Yep.
Whether it's in Texas, Chicago, wherever it's too much.
This is America.
It is.
This is America. It's a great country.
But guess what? When the Columbine happened, Columbine was an isolated incident because outside of any other, I think that was the bombing of Oklahoma City, I think, during President Clinton's term. After that Columbine shooting in the school, he outlawed, he banned the AK-47s. And then in 2004, when Bush, right?
Actually, I don't think that's right.
No?
I think Columbine was 1999.
Yeah,
that still was, but that still was during that's still during Clinton.
I thought he banned it in 94, didn't he?
He did. He did. But the thing is,
just trying to be.
But I don't even think he had an AK-47.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did though. But the point is still the point. Whether he had whatever, he didn't have the weapons that we have now, right? I can't. And if I'm wrong, leave a comment. Let us know.
Let us know.
But what I'm saying is he banned it, and then in Bush era he let it expire. That's law expire. So is that right?
In 04,
yeah. In 04. Mm-hmm. So now we have these things happening every other week.
With the AKs, right?
With the AKs. Mm-hmm. So it's everyone's saying, well, guns, good guys with guns, they don't hurt people and all this stuff. We get all of that. We get that. I know that there's a lot of responsible gun owners out there. I know that. However, there's a lot of, like you said, people with mental illness. And then you have a president that's spewing out stuff that's just... It's just so...
Don't try and bring in prejudice in this.
No.
The guy who did the shooting in El Paso showed he was he made it clear smart kid, by the way, for doing this. He made it clear on social media because he for doing his crazy thing he wanted to do. He did it very strategically. He said on social media years prior, he said he was radicalized years on his post before he did a shooting. He said, I've been radicalized for years. He said, don't try to blame this on the president or Trump. This is me doing this. This is all me. Because he knew the CNNs and MSNBCs of the world would try to take his story and run with it and say, oh, look, this is about Trump. This is about that. He wanted it to be about him and what he did. So he made it very clear that he was radicalized way before Trump was president.
Well, he still had that manifesto, right? Wasn't that?
And then which they haven't showed to anybody, by the way. And I don't trust the mainstream media because remember the Russian hoax? How about that, guys? Where did that go? That Russian hoax.
Sure.
This is
sure, but I do think that the president has a lot to do with the fact that people are on edge on both sides.
And that's the media has a lot to do with that. If the media
powered by the words of the president.
All the media. If I
didn't have media and I just looked at his Twitter account, I'd be stressed.
If the media reported the news when he does good things, when the media reports the news when he does good things and just say, "Hey, the president did this. Now the stock market's doing this. Hey, this is all these good things that the president has done and is doing," along with them going after him with this stuff they have issues with, people wouldn't be so angry. But all they do is they focus only on negative and they only deliver negative to the public because they want the public upset. And that's what they're doing. And that's why the media is corrupt. Because you guys are using what your power is to manipulate people. Yeah. And I see you guys doing it. And I agree with the reason why you guys lost, and that's why people like John Miller, White House Briefing, the black dude, is getting more views than CNN right now, is because people are tired of mainstream media BS. That's why people like me got over 14,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. Because people are like, this guy walking through Brooklyn is getting more truth than Don Lemonhead any day of the week.
I love Don
Lemon. Don's a clown.
Here's my take on it. I have to be honest, I'm not going to blame Trump in this situation.
Please don't.
Because we had mass shootings way before.
Thank you.
I will never forget the day that I saw 26, I believe, 5-year-olds slaughtered. Ooh. That was under President Obama. What I've said over and over again that I believe that Trump does incite kind of racial divide, but I don't think it's because of him people are taking AKs and slaughtering innocent people. However, what I do agree with you in the sense that there is a mental illness element of things, but I've also said that I think it's culturally we're just more violent and on edge, and we don't know how to interact, to communicate. There's a lot of like things that have been happening for a long time. But what bothers me is like there's like, why does it have to be mutually exclusive? Like, why can't you at the same time that you acknowledge we have gun issues, we can also say at the same time we have social problems, like whether it's mental or the way we communicate with each other. Like, why does it I feel like we have to be on one side or the other. At the end of the day, we have more guns in this country than we do people. It's just a fact. We really do. And I think I was researching. I was like, where did we go wrong in this country? Like, where did we really go wrong? And then it hit me. I'm like, we're probably the only country, and maybe I have to do research, that actually have in our constitution that we protect guns. So that was when we were formulated as a country. So it's like, as depressing as it is for me, I'm like, can we fix this? Because this is hundreds of years engraved in how the country became. Like, the Constitution has to be changed.
You can't
just have like. So I'm like, you think about what's us different than some of these other modern countries. It's like it's been ingrained.
It is.
So
fair.
How do we quickly? We're saying to our politicians and I hear everybody do something. It's like, can they really take away like 300 years worth of what's engraved in the culture of who we are at this point?
And they engraved that back then
and then
for a reason.
One more point to your point. Like, I also believe he's right about stricter. There's some evidence that if you do ban, like President Obama put out a thing. I wish we had it to read some of it.
Yeah,
he was saying we're not going to save every life, but there's evidence, there's proof that if you ban like certain kinds of and you put certain kind of regulations in, there's going to be a reduction in the killings of people. Right. It's not going to reduce it. There's some evidence to that, but at the same time, like Chris is saying, then you create a black market. So it's like we have this issue with creating a black market. We have this issue with this ingrained for hundreds of years into the culture of who we are as a country. It's like, it's depressing because I'm like, really, can we solve this problem?
Well, you know what? I think that we do need. I know you said you don't blame the leader, but I still put blame on the leader because I do feel like there's some angst that comes from the head, and I feel like we do need more love. I think we need to be spewing more beautiful words of encouragement. We are too hateful. It's not helping the fact that religion. People say also having religion and having some kind of faith-based just foundation.
And Democrats have been throwing that in the trash, by the way, lately.
Well, having some kind of faith-based something, whether even if it's not faith-based in religion, if you don't believe in God, you're an atheist or whatever you are, having something else that's a little bit over the universe, respecting the universe.
He's like fake. Fake Catholic, right, or fake Christian.
Who is
Trump?
He's a Protestant.
Trump's our King Cyrus. That's what Trump is, to be more specific.
Anyway,
that's why he's on the other side. And Israel, they got King Cyrus on one coin, they got Trump's head on the other side.
No, I'm saying I don't want to blame him, but I also don't think he's like. I totally agree with it. He's not helping the situation. Yeah. He's in fact,
but what about this though? Then what about the Ohio shooter? He was a far leftist who loved Elizabeth Warren, big fan of hers, and he was a Satan worshiper.
Yeah.
What about his response? What about his response? Like he was like, Trump said we need stricter background checks, and there was something else he said. Maybe he said ban assault rifle, and then he's like plus stricter immigration laws. Like, why are you saying that? What does that have to do with immigration?
None of these people were all. These were all people.
What does that have
for
to
the
do
majority?
With the mass shootings?
These are people that are at home, like you said, basement people that just sit on the internet.
Because gun smuggling is getting done across the borders along with drugs.
That's what you think he meant?
Oh, definitely. That's everything came to my mind when he said that. I said exactly. We need to shut those borders down.
And then he also said the wrong city too, which was kind of irresponsible as the president. Like
when Obama said 59 states at one time. Instead of 56.
No, this is a little different. This is 59 states is that's
a pretty big mistake. We're talking about America. You're living in America.
Yeah, I know, but I can understand that. But we're also talking about people who died, and then he went golfing this weekend, and he did all these things prior to him, like addressing.
I remember Obama having fun many times after shootings and stuff, or not even attending funerals and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he would never.
For police officers that got shot. Obama did some grimy stuff, especially for the police.
So do you think that Obama was a terrible person that would never, that didn't care about people?
I think he was a horrible person.
Really?
He's a horrible president. He as a person. Let me rephrase myself.
Please.
If he was an actor or an athlete, I think Obama's cool. As a president, horrible.
Why did you vote for him twice?
Because they threw Mitt Romney at me. The heck's a Mitt Romney?
But you could have sat out.
First time I could have sat out. I vote. I don't sit out. That's my black people died for me to vote. I'm not going to sit out.
Okay.
So that's one. So I voted for Obama.
So there you go. And didn't you? Okay. All right. I want to get into that. Okay. So for me, I just feel like, so if we're going to say mental illness, we're going to throw all these things. Will we also throw these things for like Muslim, like terrorists? Are we going to say that the terrorists that, like, for instance, 9/11, can we also use they were mentally ill? Could we say that same thing? Because technically,
if they say yell Allah Akbar before they blow themselves up,
it's kind
that's what their culture. That's their culture does.
Seems a little bit.
Doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, Islam. Check yourself, Islam. You sound a little.
No. I would not. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. Islam is not.
But it's in their book to do this stuff.
No, it's not.
It is.
No,
it says kill Jews, to kill Christians.
These are extremists.
No, it's not. The people in the Islam religion who kill themselves and kill Christians and Jews like that, they are following the Quran more better than people work in the corner store and don't hurt nobody.
I'm telling you, it does not say in the Quran.
It says there's a Jew behind that rock. Go kill them. Go stone them.
It does not say.
I can find that quote for you. I can pull it up right now. I definitely will.
Please, in the Quran.
Definitely will.
I've never.
I speak the truth, people.
No,
Muhammad was a savage. Muhammad was a killer. Muhammad, their leader that they compared with Christ. Muhammad would take over towns and cities and rape the women. On top of the dead bodies of their husbands, while the kids watched. And he had his last wife was a 9-year-old girl who he had sex with when she was 11.
So you don't like Muslims?
And he put his tongue in a little boy's mouth.
Okay.
So you don't like Muslims?
I don't know. I don't sound like Muslims. I said no. I don't. There's people that are other religions I don't agree with. I can get along with the person.
We can give you examples of radical Christians and everything.
And I don't mess with the radical Christians.
Okay.
If you're a radical, don't mess with you.
Then that's the word. That the radical. It's people that are radicalized.
But the book does tell them that. Do that though.
The Bible has things about killing people too. Kill your own wife.
It says nothing about. Is this something about killing Jews and the
your wife though?
You can like stone your wife if she doesn't like do what she's supposed to do.
In the Old Testament, when they were telling the Israelites specific rules to get through the desert to survive through generations, and the Jews are still here to this day. So I guess whatever they told them in the Old Testament worked. Now when Christ died on the cross, this is the new law, the 10 commandments. The Sabbath. Honor your neighbor, all that stuff. But we're not going to go by the Old Testament rules anymore. That was the whole point of Christ down the cross. That's what Christianity started, and that's where I'm at.
Can I bring it back real quick?
Please.
This is why, by the way, I'm so anti-religion, but let me not get into that. I'm like super spiritual. I'm super spiritual. Anyway, so I want to give a shout out to Andrew Yang because, that's my dude. And I don't know if he's the first one, but he's saying like, finally, policy, something, right? He's saying that we should have like first of all, I totally agree with him that like we're reacting. We're not strategizing ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like how to get ahead of these kind of things when they happen. So he's suggesting we have like a domestic terrorist like database. I don't know if they have something like that. They're not really seeing. Most of our terrorists are like the people you're talking about, like the suicide bombers, ISIS. We don't really have a belief.
I think the FBI does monitor like people. Like if you like,
they don't have like this. There's not a strategy for this like lone wolf like mass shooter. Like first of all, the FBI says 80 to 90% of these mass shootings, the people leaked information ahead of time that they were, something concerning that they were saying.
Gosh. Exactly.
There's no channel for which that family members and people around them are getting that information out. We don't really have like a real strategy.
Right.
And then, so he was like just saying there's some policies out there that maybe could possibly work. Because once you start talking about guns, everyone gets all stupid. So can we do some, in the meantime, what else can we do? You know what I'm saying? Stop being so reactive to these things.
That's one of the reasons why I love Andrew Yang. He's so logical in his thinking. Right?
It's my dude.
He's so logical in his thinking. This man literally thinks of, it's like, okay, here's a problem. Let's logically figure out a solution here. We're sitting here going back and forth, and we're not really creating any solutions, right?
He is for stricter gun.
Fine, and I do, and well. I am as well. I do think that people shouldn't have AK. I think if you want to play with an AK-47, you should play with it in like an arm, like where you're shooting at an arm, like a place where you can actually shoot at a target, and you put it back, and then you go back with your day. You can have like guns, have regular guns, handguns.
Why even do that? Why even do that?
Because that's their right. They want to. If they want to have fun shooting things, it could be fun. I've never done it, but that might be something.
Shooting clay shooting stuff?
But do you
but with the AK-47, like shooting.
I mean, I would like to do that. I'm not, me personally. I'm not like everybody,
Right.
I wouldn't,
Have you ever shot a gun?
Oh, yeah. Shot a gun a few times.
Okay.
Why can't people just have like a single gun to protect themselves at home,
or
whatever it is that they need to protect? That's what the
because you got to know how to shoot it. So when
why do you need like the machine and the like warlike type? That's what gets me, because that's what's killing all these people.
That's something I'm willing to talk about. I'm willing to sit down with people on the left and say, okay, certain AK-47, certain guns. I'm like,
But there's some conservatives.
But I want to hear. Wait,
I'm willing to talk about like certain like fully automatic machine guns and shoot like 12 rounds at a time.
Okay.
Like I'm willing to sit down and talk and say, yeah, we need to work on. Focus on taking care of these guns and not having them out in the streets.
Okay.
But all that's really going to do at the very, very end of the day, now that they're out here now, this is like say calls a black market. Yeah, criminals are still going to get those guns.
Yeah,
it's true.
And when criminals have those guns, man,
I agree with you. But look, we live in New York. New York have the toughest gun laws, and people still get their hands on guns. But guess what? When you get a gun, you're automatically going to jail for 10 years, like automatically.
Yeah.
So you just have to put tough crime. It's just crime. It's a crime now. Once it's outlawed. If you have a AK-47 and you're found with one, guess what?
You're done.
You're going to jail. That's it. Yeah. And, or if you're not, again, I feel bad because I know people enjoy this. This is fun, like shooting watermelons or whatever they do, or shooting. I saw some kids shooting the Medgar Evers. Was it Medgar Evers? Was it Medgar Evers? I believe it's his memorial that they have in Mississippi. I think college kids were like shooting at it. Crazy stuff, but
I don't know about all that. But I say I'll let.
But that's the kind of craziness. And you say it's a gun. We're in gun-toting. We're always. It's shooting. It's gun culture.
Yeah, but I mean, we built this culture. The Constitution has it in the Constitution to protect guns because of the fact of the British.
Correct.
Like we had to get because the British were still ruling over here. We're paying $80 for a cup of tea right now.
Understood.
But do you think we should revisit that?
I think it's just you just said you would revisit.
But you protect yourself from that, and you got to protect yourself from the government. People don't realize I don't trust the government. And that's why I like conservatism, because they believe in smaller government. Less government is better. When government starts getting control of stuff, anything the government has control of, they're doing a terrible job at it. So if we give the government our guns, here's all our guns. You think they're going to take all our guns and be like, okay, we're just going to hold your guns and protect you guys? No, they're going to take advantage of us, take those guns to be powerful over us and dictate over us. That's what they're going to do with them, because they know we're powerless now. Once they know we're powerless, they're going to take advantage of us, because every country that got their guns taken away from the citizens, they got taken advantage of.
But do you think we should, first of all, I don't think they want to take everything away. The focus is more on these really violent Okay.
You can start with AKs, but then,
do you think like these background checks and like taking away assault rifles, or even like, does someone need 20 guns? Or is it bad to say, you know what, dude, or female, you only need 3 or 2? Like, why do you need 10 guns?
We've got a speaker coming in.
So,
what's up, guys? Ty, engineer here. All right, so I do have to Maxine's point.
He's not on camera, by the way, but you can hear him.
So I feel when you ask why do people need why do you need 10 guns, whatever, like obviously like I'm a gearhead, right? So I have this type of camera, they serve different purposes.
Okay.
They have different feels. They have, and that's if you're someone who's into,
like people like in the cars.
Guns.
People are in the cars.
So you have.
I like guns, but not into them like that.
Exactly. So I feel as if the only thing that and I also have a drone. So I think one thing that might be a solution. I don't know if this makes sense, but if all guns had to be re-registered, but if you put like a chip in it, it can know when it's near. They don't even want that.
They don't
want that. They're afraid. That's something.
Government.
That's actually, they're afraid of that because they just feel like then we'll know exactly where the guns are and they're going to come and get it. So that's what everybody's.
They're never going to
be happy with anything. I'm telling you, it's just. But I do understand what you're saying.
If you know where they are and you're not intending to use it in any type of, manner, you're using it for your own personal use, not against people.
Yeah, you're saying you got to be willing to take that.
But
if you're getting that gun, you got to be willing to take that chip with it. So if you know you're getting yourself into if you buy the gun. Because,
but you guys,
that's my.
What drives me crazy though is like I don't understand why people are so in an uproar about this protecting to help save lives. Like, for example, you can't drink until you're 21 because you're not responsible. You might get in a car and kill somebody, right? Yeah. For the most part, we're cool with that. Now, in the 90s, you could smoke in a restaurant. Now you can't smoke in a restaurant. Yeah. Why? Because your smoke can cause cancer to the person next to you. For whatever reason, no one is protesting and going crazy about that. But let's stop children from being sorry.
No, I understand.
I
I understand.
It's definitely. I feel the same way she does. I really do.
There's babies.
Yeah.
Sorry, being slaughtered. Yeah. And it's like,
and mothers shielding their children.
Why is it so hard for them, for people to say enough is enough?
Yeah. That's
sorry.
Like I said, I know, I understand. That's why I said
I'm a mother, and I can't imagine. I can't imagine this happening to one of my kids. And I would think that as a gun owner, I would say, you know what? Yeah, this sucks. I like my collectibles, and I like whatever the hell I do with my guns. But at the end of the day, if this could potentially save a life of an innocent child, just like I don't smoke my cigarette, I gotta go outside, the inconvenience, I gotta walk outside to smoke my cigarette, or I gotta wait till I'm 21 to drink, or whatever. They do it, so just freaking do it. Sorry.
We're gonna switch gears.
Sorry.
I wanted to talk about Chicago really quickly. We do have to, in the same way that we talk about the mass shootings in Walmart and in everywhere basically.
For the mainstream media.
This past weekend, we also had a really bad weekend.
The worst,
in Chicago. Yeah, it was one of the worst.
Which is proof that the left doesn't really care about lives.
Well, the worst this
because if you care about lives, they'd be talking about that right now. They're not really talking about it because they don't care about lives.
Some are. Well, that's why we're here.
We're talking about it, so we're at least doing our job.
We're alternative news.
Yeah, and we're doing it because we also feel that it's fair to discuss both sides.
We
think it's important for us to also discuss why is this happening in Chicago. The 90s, we did some research. We found that in the 90s, the rates of homicides were so much lower than they are now. And, everybody always says, look at Chicago. Chicago's so bad. Black people are killing each other. Black men are killing each other. Between 17 and 34, they're just slaughtering each other. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. They're doing that. But why are they doing that?
Well, if you actually look at Chicago, and I think they could learn something from New York, one of the things that they were saying is that they actually don't have as strict sentencings for people who are getting caught with guns. So like in New York, you said you get caught with a gun, you're done.
10 years.
Out there, they get caught with a gun, they're like on bail, they're on back in the street like right away. So, and this allegedly, I don't know, but that could be one of the things they're saying they actually don't have. But then I don't.
Facts.
I think because New York is pretty tough with that, so maybe they could just a solution. I don't know, because it's getting out of control. It seems like out there.
Chicago has,
and then the poverty levels as well. And
I want to hear what he says, but then can we get into the poverty, and then we're gonna go to next.
Yeah, Chicago. They got gang issues there. They got young people out there. I mean, I saw, I forgot the gentleman, DJ Academics. He's a guy who does like a lot of like hip hop like commentary. And I remember he's bigger now, but before he was living in Chicago, and he would talk about these rap videos these kids would do each other, and they would diss each other in the rap videos. Anybody knows rap music? You do diss songs and stuff. And these kids are 14 to 17 years old, making these YouTube videos, and they got everybody's holding AKs and holding guns, and they're, yo, son, when I see you, all that BS. And then they would say, okay, 2 weeks later, that dude got killed. And they said, this is the guy who killed him. And then they showed the guy killed him. Yo, you remember so-and-so run his mouth? Well, guess who's dead in the ground? You could put him there. And then 2 weeks later, that guy's dead.
Oh, my God.
And it's just...
So it's retaliation. That's what I read, too.
And the gang stuff is crazy.
Of course. I keep saying it. I'm going to say it till your ears bleed, guys. Fathers, where you at? Because if fathers are in the house, so there can be no 13, 14-year-old boy running around like a fool. But get your butt inside before I kick your butt.
Some fathers were part of the gangs, and they pass it down to their sons, too.
And that's the destruction of the black family is that to do with that. Because that wasn't a man. That wasn't a father raising a boy. That was a male raising another male. You need a father raising a boy. And my father was a father. He wasn't out there in the streets acting a fool with his butt hanging out. Yo, son, what's up? I'm out here. No, my dad did none of that. If my dad ever even participated in that, I'd be like, what in the world is going on? And so he raised me to have respect for yourself. I got all that respect for myself. But then I see people that are around me, my peers, who act a fool. A lot of times I don't see a father in the house.
Well, I'm just going to say... Oh, God.
Oh, well, I wanted to make a point that, yes, we do need the fathers in the house, but you also have to be mindful that you said you did have that. So you are one of the lucky people to even have that vantage point to see that difference or even be told that. For some of these kids, they don't have that. Some of them are, doing simple things like getting locked up. They may have sold some weed or whatever, but hey, look, we all do something illegal here and there, but some of the people being put away and they're just trying to support for their family. So now it creates because I have a friend of mine whose father was locked up for that, like, and it's crazy. Like he didn't, now he has two little boys. But long story short is that I grew up in the Bronx, and there wasn't like guns if I knew, but I knew that sometimes people were getting cut and sliced and stabbed. So I remember, me, I'm not even that type of individual, but me wanting to have something just in case I was in something or affiliated by somebody, somebody else who has a problem with this person, but they seen me hanging out with them or this, that, and the third. So I feel like in that Chicago area, that when people don't live in the environment, you don't even realize that people are just doing things for a means of survival. Because if people started getting shot here now, right in New York, like consistently, like a lot, and then people just like, look, man, I got to get one whether I'm getting locked up or not, because everybody else is. So that's the only thing that I think it does perpetuate, is that it perpetuates a... and the fathers do, but sometimes it's still like, it's a
community. It starts with community. Like, okay, the fathers aren't there. We'll make some youth programs for these kids after school, so they got something to do after school.
Well, it's good that you say that about after school. They cut a lot of the schooling system there is horrible.
That's a problem.
It's a the kids don't have a place to go after school. So what happens? They're in the streets.
Of course.
And were you going to say something about poverty?
Well, I was just going to say, you were reading something that said it's like one of the most segregated cities in America, which I was shocked about. I knew there was some really bad poverty in certain parts of Chicago, and we all just know the ties to, poverty and crime and, all that kind of stuff. So that makes sense. It makes sense that you're going to have a really poor neighborhood. And like Ty is saying, people are just trying to survive, and they're doing what they can. And a lot of it is illegal activity, because that's the easiest and best way.
And we're also
for them.
And we're also going to say, because I also kind of side with Chris on certain occasions, maybe not as extreme as he says it, but I have to say that there has to be some sort of accountability for the type of interactions these men are having with each other, where they're retaliating. These are stupid reasons to kill each other. Like, because you're like, I see you said something bad about me and I'm in a different gang. Like, we know, gang life started in in Chicago, and it's kind of pushed its way to New York and then California. But it thank you for telling me. That was exactly what I was going to say. It started from the mobsters. A lot of the mobsters came from Chicago and then went them to New York, and then obviously some in LA. So a lot of this is just ingrained in the culture.
Here we go again.
You know what I mean? Ingrained in the culture.
Welcome to America, folks.
Welcome to America. So how do we change that? There's a lot of stuff. It's a nuanced conversation. It's a conversation that we'd have to talk about for a long time and do a lot of research. But honestly, I don't live in Chicago, so I can't say. My friend lives in Chicago, and she tells me it's not as bad as you think. I say, hell no, girl. You get out of there.
She hasn't been to those neighborhoods.
She's gotten robbed at gunpoint a few times. And just go on dates. Like my friend. Yeah, goodness. It's like crazy stuff. But she said it's not as bad as you think. And I'm like, that's horrible. That's horrible. You know, that's like 90s New York. Right, that's like scary part of New York where we didn't live.
But I have friends from overseas that say the same thing about just wanting to come to America. They're like, no, I don't never want to go there. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I'm thinking that you guys would want to come to New York. They're like, nope, I'm good. Too much shooting. They're like,
no. They probably are. Oh my God, that's another. But I just want to quickly talk about one other thing before we wrap today. It's gonna be a shorter episode, but we promise next week we'll have a lot more to talk about. By the way, next week is our last episode until September. We're gonna go on a little hiatus and make the show bigger and better. Really quick, guys. There was Mario Lopez had some views that I guess didn't go over so well.
I totally agree with.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me read what he said. He was on the Candace Owens podcast, and he said, "Look, I've never wanted to tell anyone how to parent their kids, obviously, and I think if you come from a place of love, you really can't go wrong. But at the same time, oh God, if you're 3 years old and you're saying you're feeling a certain way, or you think you're a boy or a girl or whatever the case may be, I just think it's dangerous as a parent to make that determination then. Okay, well, then you're going to be a boy or a girl, whatever the case may be. It's sort of alarming, and my gosh, I just think about the repercussions later on. What do you guys think?"
Like I said, I totally agree with them. I mean, and that's the issue I have with the left. They're going too far left on things, and this is one of the things that, to me, that I will never even agree on, even sit at the table, have a conversation with you about.
Okay. And are you saying? Can you clarify? Because are you saying if your child comes to you at 3 years old, you're not having that conversation?
No, to a period. To somebody adult that says.
But what if your child says it at like 18?
That's 18. You're an adult. You're legally an adult.
So that's okay that you would have that conversation with your child at 18?
18, I'll even have a conversation with them. Because I think, and this is to be honest with you, I think transgenderism is a mental disorder.
Okay.
And because if you come at me talking about I feel like a unicorn, ain't nobody gonna put a horn in your head
but
and
it's a little
start treating you like a unicorn.
It's the way
we're gonna say you have a mental disorder. You need help.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far because I mean, I can say knowing people, that are close to me, that have transitioned. I honestly don't. I don't think that person did it because
they had the highest suicide rate for a reason. I'm not saying that in a good way.
That's right, because they're just not living in their body, and they're not living in their body. Like their body, their body, they don't feel like that's who they were supposed to be.
Well, I've seen documentaries where men have done the whole physical transitioning and then committed suicide still because they wanted to be back where they were before because they lost their junk. So I'm like, I don't blame you, dog. That's how it is when you cut your junk off.
I knew we couldn't get into it.
You already know.
All I could say is I don't agree with the fact that the left is being the left. I'm part of the left, but I don't like the fact that we're being so critical with him.
Yeah,
Mario had an opinion. It's okay to have an opinion. That's his opinion,
and they took it out of context. Most of the media,
and they made it seem like he said it's something horrible. When you read what he's saying, he's saying 3 years old. If your child tells you that he's a boy at 3, I honestly agree with him. I honestly agree. You've got to wait a little while. I mean, at least 13, let them have the conversation. But 3 years old is way too young. I mean, you have young children. Like, 3 years old. Is that like... Wasn't your son and your daughter, they want to be everything, dinosaurs, and they want to be everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and we say this not trying to be funny about it because we respect and I understand. I totally understand the idea of not wanting to be in your body. That, I don't understand.
I was going to say, I don't
physically understand it, but I can respect it and I can see. if it's not right, you have to do what's best for you. But 3 years old, I'm sorry. That's not even, we can't, like he said, I wouldn't have a conversation. We're going to wait. I understand it. And maybe I'll start, entertaining certain things, but I'm not going to start a transition and change. And then 12 years old, he says the other version. He says he wants something else or whatever. It's just too soon.
Yeah. And I don't even agree with that whole transgender story hour they got with the kindergarten kids. They got these grown transgendered men talking to little kids and reading stories to them.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's transgender story time or story hour.
Yeah, so basically they have like transgenders.
Is it drag or is it transgender?
They're men in women's clothes reading children's books to little boys.
I don't know. I don't want to say it wrong or anything, but yes, it is men dressed as women. I guess so. Is that drag?
Yeah.
Okay. Coming in reading stories to kids.
What kind of stories?
They're regular children's books.
I don't see anything wrong with that, though. I don't know. I don't know why I don't see it.
Until you look at the pictures that I've seen when they got these kids laying on these men while they're on the ground, the men are laid out, and the little kids have got their heads laid on them like they're their dad or mom. If that was my kid, some grown man in a dress putting his head up, like I would flip out.
Nah,
that's crazy.
I don't know why I don't see anything wrong with that. Max, how do you feel about that?
I don't know.
Because you're introducing your kid to.
I'm gonna pull up a clip.
I guess.
Yeah, because to me, you're sexualizing a kid at a young age at that point. That's sexualizing a kid. Like,
how is that sexual? They're regular people.
Why, Daddy? Why is this grown man in a woman's dress with makeup on? Well, son, he likes to date girl. He likes other men, but he likes men.
Not necessarily. They don't always.
I'm sorry.
But I mean,
exactly. How do you explain that as an adult?
The reason I paused is because I was thinking, like, it does get into this whole concept of like, when do you? Because Mario was actually, there's more to his speech, but he was talking about how like children are too young to, they're not sexually driven at that age, right?
They ain't thinking about sex.
So that's what I was thinking when you asked me like, what do I think? I guess the question goes into like, at what point do you start talking to your kids about like sexuality and trans and LGBT and being gay and like all that kind of stuff? Like, to be honest, I walked in on my aunt kissing a girl when I was like 16. 6 years old. I was 6 years old.
Did that ruin you?
And I was like, I walked in and I was like, what did I just see? And I remember just kept walking past because I knew, like, I don't know what I just saw, but I just knew when I was 6, like, I just knew that I'd never seen that before, so like something was different there. But there was no conversation. But like ever again.
Did it ruin you? Did it ruin you? Like,
no, it didn't ruin. But I'm just saying, it just brings up the question, like, at what age?
No, you can't get one person and say, "Oh, did it ruin you?" No, okay,
but there's a difference.
That's her. But then somebody else that who's
the thing is,
not the same will get ruined by that.
But how? Because if you have parents that are, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if you have two parents that are gay, right? Two men that are raising you, and they're kissing all the time, is that ruining the child? Like, that's happening all the time.
I think that's a very confusing situation. I always think about that too. I say, man, if I was a little boy and had two dads, and I came to school, and people were like, "Why your dad kissing that dude?" You're gonna be like, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm telling the truth, man. Just being around other boys.
There's this 2019, guys.
That's gonna put you in a like little like, okay, this is kind of." That's not normal.
My trans friends will constantly like remind me that there's a difference between like who you have your sexual preference with and then gender. Like they're two different, completely different
That's
things.
What I'm saying.
Gender is X and Y chromosomes.
Hold up. That's why I just wanted to like bring the context between this conversation and the transgender transitioning and the potentially drag queens reading. They're two different things. So I just wanted to bring that up. But like, I just felt bad for him because the media, here we go again, they totally like took his words and messed them around. Like some of the headlines said like, Mario says parents don't support your trans kids, and that's like not what he said. He was trying to talk about the age and the like, you know, when it was reasonable to start having that conversation with your children. He just felt they were too young to even understand take sexuality out of it, just understanding gender. But I guess as society, we, before the kids, like as soon as a baby comes out, we're putting colors on them, we're choosing their, you know, the toys. Little girls have, you know, the mommy dolls and the kitchen and the little boy.
I wonder
so
why.
We're already instilling why they're infants.
But why are we giving those little girls little toys and mother toys and dolls? Because they have natural nurturing elements to them. Because they got the chromosomes of a woman.
I guess you got to do an experiment. You got to do an experiment. You got to put like, you know, for the first time ever, let a baby girl see a doll and like, you know, I don't know, a car and see would she naturally go over to that.
Yeah, I remember when me and my friends, we used to see our sisters.
Is that scientifically proven?
Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of guy friends growing up, me included. We we see our sister's toys, we'll rip them apart. Like, get this crap out of here. This is boring and stupid. Like, give her something that does something. Your toys do nothing. We're going to, oh, my mom and my little baby. Like, get like a roller coaster or something. Do a toy that does something cool, man. Because we're boys. We want to move. We want to have action. Let something happen, man.
You have 2 little ones, and I'm pretty sure, like, the boy is just hyperactive. Like, all my friends who have girls, their girls are calm, they're chill. Some of them a little, here and there, but it's nothing like a 3-year-old or 5-year-old boy just picking stuff up, just throwing the headphones off the thing just to see if it breaks. Like, this just it's different.
Grabbing bugs just to grab them.
Not all,
just to grab a bug.
But if I want to put a majority, like, if you see any 3-year-old, 5-year-old boy, they are running amok, sprints, throwing things, jumping on things, testing themselves, like jumping off stuff.
Mom's like, why'd you do that?
I think my last point I want to make, though, about him, which just kind of frustrated me, is like, if we go to this whole idea of like freedom of speech and like the man can't, like, we respect each other's different views here, and like, I just wish that would permeate in the society. Let the man say whether you agree with him or not, like, the fact that he had to like immediately apologize, and like now like potentially there's allegations that he could possibly be fired.
See, but this is the thing about the left.
I just feel not just the left. Like, I feel like regardless of where you are, people are just so sensitive, and you can't have a conversation anymore because you're afraid. Even like Ty was just like, I don't want to say anything wrong. Like, not just this topic, like any topic. I feel like people are so afraid to talk. Like, okay, fine. If we offend each other, let's call each other out and have a normal, like, mature conversation and correct each. Like, why is it got to be like we're all walking on eggshells?
Because
it's annoying.
We need that old school America. You're a winner, you're a loser.
I do agree with that.
Deal with it.
What do you mean, like the winner and loser?
I mean, like, when the kids play a sport, accept it. Like, when kids play into a sport, a kid loses. You don't say everybody is a winner. You go, no, you lost. He won.
All the trophy
and then he learns how to deal with losing. He learns how to deal with winning.
Yeah, I think those are 2 separate things. Because I agree with
it's life.
I think with competition, I think that's a good. I think that's sports. That's competition. I think people should be competitive.
But you're gonna lose in life, though. You lose in life, and you win in life.
Right. I think that's
the same thing.
Oh, you're saying like in terms of your gender?
It transitions to life.
Wait, so how does that fare with what we're talking about with this?
Because everybody's so sensitive now. Because of political correctness, social justice warriors, everybody's the winner. Oh, don't hurt his feelings. Don't hurt his feelings. Right. Who cares about feelings? Your feelings get hurt. Deal with it. You're not dead, are you? Did he shoot you? Did he kill you? No. Yeah. Get up and walk it off. Deal with it. America was always about that life back in the day. Facts. Now we become a little wimpy country. But don't hurt his feelings. Oh my goodness, you triggered me. And it's like, we see them on the A train. The A train riders all the time. You see them when we're in Manhattan with their legs crossed, all sensitive.
I mean, it's okay to be sensitive and triggered, but I'm just saying, why can't we have a conversation, though? Because
you're using it to be fascist. You're using your triggerness. Fascist? Yes, because if I'm triggered by something that's who cares, you're like, all of a sudden, like, who cares about that? But if I'm triggered and I become president, now I'm saying by law, if you do that to me now, I'm putting you in jail. That's a problem. And that's what the Democratic Party is trying to do, in my opinion, is when they get that power, they're going to use these things that we make fun of them about and say, now by law, you better call him or her. So. Yeah, they got certain states that said you better call him or her or him or whatever. And if you don't do that, we'll put you in jail. So they're already doing that in certain states.
Gosh.
Real talk.
All right, so we're going to end this podcast right here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Today was a little bit shorter. We usually have a lot more to say on things, and we trust us. We would have probably talked for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But as you know, this is pre-taped, and we have another episode to shoot. Just remember, this is our 18th episode. We have one more, and then we're going to be on hiatus until September, but it's going to be bigger and better. So definitely continue to listen. If you're Politricks Podcast, if you want to set. Oh my God, tongue twisted right now. If you want to send us some ideas for when we get back, you can email us at hello@politrickspodcast.com. Leave a comment on YouTube, hit subscribe, and let us know what else you want us to do, and we'll try to do it. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Kerstyn, Jay on Instagram.
Everybody's very conservative in New York. Christopher Wright.
Maxine.Outerbridge on Instagram.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say.